What's up everybody, it's Broken Bones here and welcome to Broken's Redstone Engineering. This is a new series on my channel where we're going to be covering all of the behind the scenes work that goes into making a tutorial like actually engineering the farm. The videos in this series are not going to be block by block tutorials, they're going to be explanations of how I figure out the mechanics, decide what redstone components to use, and actually construct the farm all the way till it's fully finished. And in today's video, we are going to be engineering a Super Sea Pickle Farm. So if you guys are excited to get started, then go ahead and smack the like button for me and subscribe if you guys are new, consider becoming a member, and let's go ahead and figure out where we're going to begin. And funny enough, I actually don't know that much about sea pickles, so I'm going to be learning with you guys in today's video. So first thing I want to do is place down a sea pickle. I want to learn how they grow, because I know that when you bone meal them, they're supposed to spread, and I'm wondering if they need water to do that, or what do they need? And it looks like they're not going to do it without water. So I've added a wall around it, so let's go ahead and add some water, and I didn't expect that to happen. I wonder if you can place it down in moving water. Can you place it down? It looks like it won't even let you place it down. It'll let you place it down inside of a solid water block, but you cannot place it down anywhere there's moving water. You can only place it in the water source. So I've put the water source in the middle, and I was thinking about it. If I bone meal it and they grow and spread, the moving water is going to break those too. So I don't think you can have any moving water at all. It's got to all be still. Let's see if we can bone meal this, and looks like you still won't bone meal. Well, I do like to test things out first before I look at the wiki, but now that I've tested it out and I can't get it to grow, I'm wondering what to do. I've changed the floor out to stone and no difference. Okay, I'm going to look at the wiki. So the trick to sea pickles is placing them on coral. Look at that. Now they grow. And by the look of it, it has to be regular coral. It has to be something that's alive, not dead coral. I have dead coral there in the middle, and you cannot bone meal it. It'll only work if you bone meal it on live coral. Let's go ahead and switch that out. And if we bone meal it there, it grows, but it has to be live coral. So I've made a much larger area to figure out how wide it's going to spread, and no matter how much I bone meal it past this point, it does not spread past this. So this is ultimately the shape that it's going to grow in, and since it's this shape, that means that our farm is going to be this shape. And also, by the way, as I was placing the coral, I realized that coral is a block that you cannot place. Oops. You can't place it without a block underneath. Well, since I broke that, that's actually a good example. So I'm actually trying to place that in right now. I actually have to have a block right there so I can actually place it right there. Then I can break the block out from underneath it. So now I've removed all of the other blocks except what's essential for our farm. Now that we have the minimum, we could literally just bone meal it ourselves. This is literally kind of a sea pickle farm now. You could literally bone meal this and it's going to get you sea pickles. So if we went to go break all of these, I'm pretty sure that if you were to bone meal that, it'll go ahead and grow back just like that. So nonetheless, now that we have this, we need to figure out how to automatically bone meal this with a dispenser. So now I've gone ahead and removed all of the other sea pickles because I want to try bone mealing it with a dispenser. I've got a dispenser facing down, and I needed a piston to get it down even further because I can only place it in right here. So we're going to use a piston, and we're going to power that to push it down. We're going to go ahead and power that one more time, so now it's down all the way there. Let's go ahead and unpower and see if we can bone meal it right there. Yes, we can. Look at that. So now we have a way of bone mealing it. Now we need a way to collect it. Now, because sea pickles have been growing in stagnant water, that's going to be very hard to collect them because moving water would be way easier. So I'm wondering if we can bone meal it and then they would just break off in the moving water. I'm not sure. So we're going to actually test it out right now. We're going to see. Oh, look at that. When they grow, they turn all the water into water sources. Look at that. So now it's no longer flowing anyway. Like you don't even need. So the water's going to stay stagnant no matter what we do. So as I was thinking about how I'm going to collect these sea pickles, I'm actually kind of wondering to wonder how they actually reproduce. So I'm wondering if we actually need this extra bit out here, like if we actually need that there or not. And so I'm not really sure. So I wanted to do a little bit of testing to seeing how they actually bone meal themselves. So yeah, that's the answer I was looking for. I'm glad that gave it to me on the first try, because I did see a lot of these where there's no spawn here, but there's a spawn here. Well, the fact that it can get that on the very first try, I think it's worth it to keep these outer bits. That's definitely going to improve the rates of the farm. So I've now designed my first collection method. This is a bunch of piston pushers that are going to push the walls of this thing after all of these fire. These 3 blocks should be straight in a line right here against this wall. Then this piston pusher should push this out here, and same thing on this side. These will push into a line right here, and then these will push into there, which would really only leave the middle block open, which should push all of the sea pickles right into the center. They should all get pushed into there and get collected by a minecart that's underneath. So let's see if we can actually make that happen. Let's go ahead and power these pistons. Let's go ahead and power that one, and we'll power this one right here, just like that. We'll get all of these to go into the center. Let's go ahead and do just like that. There we go. And then if we continue this all the way around, we should be able to power all of these, and they should all fit right into the center. Just like that, to where there's nothing left. Oh, I had killed all my coral. That's not necessarily good. But all of our sea pickles did go in the middle. In order for the coral to not die, everything would have to retract a lot faster. Which brings me to my second collection method. This is going to be a lot simpler and a lot faster. It's just alternating honey blocks and slime blocks that are holding onto glass, so that way you can go down, destroy all of the sea pickles, but also hopefully glitch them through those blocks, and then we can actually have some type of a water stream up here to carry them all away. But we also need a piston right here because we have a dispenser in there, and so when these go down, these honey and slime blocks are going to grab that dispenser and pull it up, so we want it to come down. So again, we're going to use a piston to push down a piston so we can get it there in place just like this. We need to get that guy all the way down in there just like that. So now that we have all of our pistons in place, I've gone ahead and wired up how I think they're going to need to be. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I think what is going to happen is I think these are going to go down, destroy all of the sea pickles, and then when they come back up, the middle piston should push back down, pushing the dispenser back down next to that redstone block, bone mealing these again. So let's see if that's what happens. So if we push these down, that should go like that. Then we want to release that really quick so that way we don't want to kill... Oh, the dispenser held on to all the honey blocks. Look at that. The dispenser grabbed all of those and they stuck. Wow. So I'm pretty sure that will harvest the sea pickles, but now before we replace all of our coral and keep on doing sea pickles, I need to make sure that I can get this dependable. We need to actually make sure that that the dispenser gets pushed down after these get brought back up. So I think I've wired that up right here. I don't know, I think. I haven't tested this out yet, so we're placing our lever in, and again, we want these to come up, and we want that dispenser to get pushed back down afterwards, and I think this will do it. So let's see here if we do that. It worked! It actually worked, and it looks like it actually bone mealed the sea pickles. We just don't have any good coral. I think that actually worked. So just as a side note with the engineering of all of this, keep in mind, this is what we did first. We placed all of our pistons in where they needed to go, and we placed our dispenser where it needed to go. You place all of the components to all of the redstone bits before you even worry about how you're going to power it. You just know that you're going to need a dispenser there because that's where your sea pickles are. You know that you're going to need a piston here because this is the block that you want to move. Over here, we did the exact same thing, it just turned out a little bit different. Once you have all of those components in place, then you worry about how to wire it up because it doesn't really matter. There's always going to be a way to wire it up that will work, so you don't have to worry about if it's possible. It definitely is. You just need to put all the blocks in place, all the components that are going to do what you want them to do, and then worry about how to power it because you can definitely do that. So let's test this again. I want to come down here because I want to be able to see right there at that dispenser, and so we can kind of see down there if I go just like that. We want to look down at the dispenser right above the minecart in my hotbar. So I'm going to flick this lever. That's going to go down, then it's going to go back up, just like that. Look at that. Look at that. That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and put all the coral back and see if it'll actually bone meal, like if the water is actually out there and the blocks are up fast enough. Which reminds me, you again have to put all these blocks underneath the coral before you can place the coral, because you cannot place coral without a block underneath it. It just simply doesn't go. Once you break this out, you can place it in right there and then get rid of the block underneath it. But yeah, coral's kind of annoying. Not all the coral blocks are back in place, and in doing so, I actually broke my minecart. It fell all the way down there. So I'm not going to worry about that though, because we don't need to worry about the collection. We know it'll collect inside of a minecart. This is all research and development. We got to figure out if this is possible. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if our timings are going to be good enough to actually bone meal the sea pickle and actually have it spread in the amount of time that it takes for this machine to do what it's doing. So let's go ahead and flick that down and push it back up. Do we get sea pickles? We got sea pickles. We got sea pickles. We only got one sea pickle? Okay, let's try this again. We got to get more sea pickles than that. We got to see what's going on there. Let's see if we get more sea pickles. Look at that. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad. That's a pretty good batch of sea pickles. That's actually a very good batch, I would say. I think that's going to work. I think that's a working design. Let's go ahead and see. Oh my goodness! Look at how many sea pickles we got there. I think we've done it. I think this is a good design. Okay, so next we need to figure out how to make sure that all the sea pickles end up here and into some type of a collection system. Oh my goodness! It happened again. Look at this. This coral. So I've gone ahead and added an extra layer of blocks, but they had to be non-sticky because of the slime and honey. So I used leaves because we don't need obsidian. That's rather expensive. So I wanted to use something cheap to kind of represent that it doesn't need to be obsidian. And then we had some slabs right here. This isn't really part of the design. This is actually just to make sure that sea pickles, if they do land up here and they're not falling off the side because the block would push them off to the side. I also put down a floor so that if anything does fall out the bottom or something like that, then we could definitely know. And I think what I need to do now is I actually need to put a skirt on this thing right around here so I know that if it's getting shoved out the bottom or if it's coming out of the top. So now if anything underneath falls out, it'll land over here, and if anything falls out from up here, it'll land right here. So here we go. We want to make sure that the sea pickles land up here. So let's go ahead and see if that'll happen. Let's see here. I think, do we have any sea pickles? Looks like there's one. There's a couple. Let's take a look here. We have some coming out down there, and it looks like, wow, it looks like that died again. Oh, man. I'm leaving those blocks there because I'm tired of breaking them and placing them. And I think what we need to do here is we need to accurately time how big of a pulse we actually give to this thing. So here I've gone ahead and added a 2-tick delay here so that we have a 2-tick pulse that's going to come into here. And we can adjust it with this repeater here. So let's go ahead and see if a 2-tick pulse gives us what we need. And it looks like... Did anything happen? Our coral's still good, so that's good. Let's try that again. Let's see what happens if we do that again. Okay, wow, it looks like our sea pickles are bouncing way up there, but it does look like a couple of them up here. Looks like some are down here though. I'm wondering if if bouncing off those, if it's bouncing all the way out here or if it's coming from over here. So now I've gone ahead and added blocks above all of these blocks because if we have a collection system, we're going to have blocks over the top of it anyway. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But this way, at least now for the test, none of the honey blocks or slime blocks should have an empty block above them. So that way none of the items will go flying everywhere. So now we can get a better, more accurate test. And so let's go ahead and grab this guy here. And I guess we can grab that guy there too. And let's go ahead and test this again. We're going to go ahead and hit this button, see what happens. Okay, let's take a look. So there's some sea pickles. There's some sea pickles. Some did fly out down here. That's interesting. I wonder if I just need to do this. Let's box this in, and actually, let's do that with glass because I need to be able to see that coral, make sure it's still alive. So I'm thinking that ring of blocks around the coral is going to do it because the piston pushers that are up top are literally going right to the diagonal part of that, and so therefore I feel like the items could glitch out possibly. So with those extra blocks there, I think we'll be okay. Let's go ahead and test this some more. Let's go ahead and hit this button and see what happens. Okay, we got more. None ended up down here. I did see some up here. Let's go ahead and try this again. Okay. Again, none ended up down here. They all ended up here by the look of it. Oh yeah, we got lots of sea pickles. Look at that, we got sea pickles on every single block now. Oh yeah, that is a good collection system. That is definitely a good collection system. It's fast, the coral stays alive, and we're not getting any more blocks glitching through the floor. Everything's coming up top. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, so now we need to figure out a way that we're going to collect it off the top of this. And I think that'll be easier because, I mean, we could just use water, I think, and get it to flow off in one direction. We're going to have to figure that part out, though. So at this point, the only thing in my way of actually having water go around this whole thing are these slabs. That means I'm probably going to have to redirect my redstone, and I'm not sure I'm going to do that. And we also have a dispenser in here that needs to be fed bone meal, and it's pretty much surrounded. I don't know how we're going to get more bone meal to it. So before we add the water, I thought it'd be a good idea to make sure that we get bone meal into here, just in case we have to use the side for something, and it wouldn't work out with the water. So I've added a hopper facing down into our dispenser down there with a downwards facing Autocrafter right there. And so now we need to figure out how to get bone blocks into this guy. And because there's redstone torches here and there's going to be a lot of power going on, if we use the hopper, it would just end up getting locked most of the time, and I don't think a hopper will work here. And you know what I just thought of too? This Autocrafter is going to put 9 bone meal into the system, and it's only going to give 1 bone meal every single time it goes down, and it's going to give 9 bone meal every time it goes down from the Autocrafter, which means that eventually it's going to overflow, which is not a good thing. We don't want bone meal going everywhere. So to engineer this a little bit better, I've pulled the center out and I've brought it over here. So this is kind of the design that I'm thinking might actually work. And the one question that I have is, I wonder if minecart hoppers lock when you have a torch next to them like that, because the torches in here that are going to be powering these pistons will eventually be right next to that minecart. So let's go ahead and see. We do have a trap door in here, and that way the piston can push everything down, but it can also flap back down just like this, and it doesn't really do anything to the minecart, so I think that will work out just fine. Let's go ahead and put some items in the minecart and see if they still get sucked out. Look at that, they still get sucked out. They're still going down into the dispenser, which is awesome. So that means that even though that there's a redstone torch next to it, it's still gonna let the items out, which is good. So now that we know items will go through this, the big question is, will it move? Let's go ahead and see what happens when we push it down. That didn't do what we wanted it to do. The minecart moved below the hopper. Let's see what happens when we push it back up. Is anything... Now the minecart's up in that piston. That is, that's rather unfortunate. That's not at all what I wanted to happen. That's clearly not going to work. So I've come back to the drawing board, and I think a hopper facing down, where the nozzle's facing down, might still be able to have the items pulled out of it, and I'm not sure, so we're going to try it out. Let's see what happens. So even though the hopper is locked, it will still let items go through there, which is fantastic. So after demonstrating this, I'm pretty sure that if a locked hopper is locked like that, even though it has the nozzle facing down just like this, it won't accept items coming into it, but it'll accept items being pulled out of it. So let's see if that's true. Let's see if we put that in there. It's still going down into there, and it's still going through there. Oh my goodness, we can still, with a locked hopper, we can still have items going through. That's incredible. I'm really curious to know down in the comment section what you guys thought was going to happen when we put this hopper there, because I thought for sure this was not going to let items down into here, but I got proved wrong. It obviously does. So now I've taken that whole assembly and I've put it right here into the center. So now we have our dispenser down in the bottom and a bunch of hoppers on top of it. The only thing that I see that might be an issue is the fact that we have the dispenser, a hopper, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 blocks above that dispenser, and it's going to be moving up and down, and it's going to be getting grabbed by these slime and honey blocks, which means that I think we're going to exceed the push limit. This is 6 blocks, and this right here is 1, 2, 3, and then 4, plus the glass, which is 8, and 8 plus 6 is 14, so that's not going to work. So what we need to do is we need to actually re-engineer how these slime and honey blocks are laid out. I think a good solution for that is to literally just go catty corner like that. We'll have 1, 2, 3 of slime blocks and 1, 2, 3 of glass, which is 6, plus 6 blocks is 12, which is the push limit, and that should go for this side too now, because this is 1, 2, and 3, because underneath the piston there's another honey block right there, so that's the third one that I'm counting, and then there's 3 glass underneath that, so that's another 6 blocks. So let's go over here and we'll do the same thing. We need to get that slime block right here. Let's see here. That'll be where the slime block goes. Yep. And then over here, I think the honey block's fine, and that should be really it. I think that'll do it now. So let's actually test this out. I've actually got some of this over here. We've got an Autocrafter in place now. We actually need to get that working too. We need to get some bone meal into this hopper. Once we put bone meal into that hopper, you'll see that it'll trigger every once and again whenever this redstone signal changes. You'll see it trigger just like that, and that's adding more bone meal into the system, which is exactly what we want. So we're gonna let that roll. And now we can go ahead and hit this button and see if that all works. I wonder if that worked. I didn't see the hoppers go up and down. I'm not sure if they did or not. Let's try that again. Let's see what happens. So I do see this piston going, but I don't see the hoppers going up and down. And I wonder if that's going down. Are the slime blocks going down? The slime blocks are going down. That's very interesting. I wonder if that means that we really don't need this piston. I think that's what's going on, I think. I would think it would be different, though. I think, do we need to push? Let's see, is our dispenser still there? No, that's why. Because all the hoppers got pushed down, and then our dispenser's down there, and now all the water's gone, too. Look at that. All of our coral's dead. Gosh darn it. All right, so I've gone ahead and fixed all the coral blocks, and I've moved our dispenser back into place, so that's all good to go now. But now we got to figure out what's actually going to make this work. What is going to make this work? I'm honestly wondering how the dispenser got pushed down there in the first place as well, because really what happens is these slime blocks, they get pushed down, it breaks the sea pickles, the slime blocks grab the dispenser, it pulls it back up, which should pull all of these hoppers back up, which is why we have this piston here to push them all back down. And really, when that's pushed back down, you can see that when we push it down, like, the dispenser isn't going down all the way, so it's not because of this piston. It's got to be because of the slime blocks, which doesn't make any sense. I'm pretty sure that slime blocks don't stick to hoppers, but the only way that would happen is if they stick to hoppers. Let's see if that's... Oh my god. Hoppers stick to slime blocks? Dude, that used to not be a thing. Those used to be an immovable block. And, oh my goodness, man. That just, now that explains why this is going down into the water there. What are we going to do about that? So it's been a few days' time since that last clip. I've actually gone ahead and done some crusty crew tours where we've toured some bases. And now I've come back to this with a fresh mind. And I'm thinking that this design is cool, but I don't think it's going to work. So there's also something different. We're using vibrant visuals, so I hope you guys noticed that. We're going to be using that, and I actually got my settings fixed, so now that actually looks pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with it, so we're going to move forward using vibrant visuals from now on. So I've gone ahead and looked on YouTube, and I've looked up a couple tutorials by SilentWhisper and Prowl, and I came up with my own little design like this. This is kind of inspired by theirs, and this is a lot cleaner looking in my opinion. So far we have all the basic mechanics set up. We have a dispenser here that's going to bone meal our sea pickle. That's going to go ahead and grow. Whenever it does grow, we should be able to hit the button in which all of those are in there. The shifting floor goes ahead and shifts, and it should allow all of those sea pickles to eventually get collected. Let's see if that's gonna happen. That one got collected. This one here, I wonder if the water being standing right here is gonna be an issue. That's unfortunate. I wonder what would happen if we got rid of this water source after we've put it there already. Let's go ahead and see what happens if we get rid of all of those and then we break them back. Will the water still flow? The water's still flowing, which is good. It's very hard to see where it is flowing and where it's not, especially with vibrant visuals. Actually, I had to go back into regular visuals just to make sure that the water was flowing in the right directions, and I found out that we actually need a hopper right here. So I've added a hopper line going into the side because I don't think that many items are going to be going in here. Most of them are going to be going in both of these sides. So now that we know that our water's flowing the right way, let's go ahead and test our system. We're going to go ahead and press the button and go ahead and bone meal our sea pickles. We need to go ahead and press the button that's going to shift the floor the opposite direction. There we go. All the sea pickles should break and all of them get collected right into their collection systems just like they should. Look at that. Everything is gone now. All the sea pickles are now gone. Let's go ahead and hit the button one more time. Let's go ahead and shift the floor back the other direction. That should go ahead and go right back. All the sea pickles break and they go into the collection system just like that. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so now that we've got that figured out, now we need to figure out a way to automate this where it goes one side, bone meals, then the other side, and then bone meals, then the other side, and then bone meals. Now I've gone ahead and added some of our circuits that are going to actually power our bone mealing system, and then we're going to actually take an Autocrafter that takes bone blocks and turn them into bone meal. And so we have that system in place too. Next, we need to go ahead and come on down below and create the clock that's going to make all this work. And as I came down below, I noticed that this block right here, this block of coral has died. And I was wondering what we could do about that because really there's always going to be one block of coral up here, and if it's on top, that coral down below is going to die, and that's not necessarily good. And because of that, I've actually done a little experiment over here. I've taken water underneath coral, and as long as it's underneath, the coral will stay alive. I didn't think that would work because the water's not actually touching the coral. It's actually got like 1 pixel of space in there, but it does work. It actually does keep the coral alive, even if it's underneath. And check this out. I've added a slab so we can waterlog the slab, and now we don't even need a glass block underneath. And now right here in the center, I've put ourselves a little 1-tick engine just like this that'll toggle back and forth, and we're going to see how fast fast we can actually run this farm without it actually messing up. So I'm going to start with 1 tick and see how it goes. Let's go ahead and turn the lever on and see what happens. So if we go just like this, we should see, looks like nothing's going to happen as of yet. We actually need to turn that on to 2 ticks. Let's see if that starts working the farm. Not quite. It is bone mealing, but it's not allowing the pistons to actually go back and forth. Let's see. Looks like the reason why that wasn't working is I need to put a repeater in there. We need to add ourselves a repeater in right here, just like that. There we go. Let's go ahead and try this on 1 tick again and see what happens. There we go. Okay, 1 tick definitely doesn't work. Let's go ahead and go to 2 ticks. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's a little inconsistent. Let's try 3 ticks. Interesting. That's very interesting. I'm trying to see if it's actually bone mealing. It is. It's bone mealing twice. It's bone mealing over there and then back over there. But I feel like that's a little bit slow. Let's try 2 ticks again. There's back on 2 ticks. It's just not consistent enough. I wonder if we can have it on 2 ticks but make it more consistent. Let's see if we can work on that. So I've gone and rewired that up now. Let's go ahead and see if that's going to work. Let's go ahead and come back over here and turn our engine on. That looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. I think that solved it. Now all the pieces are going back and forth every single time. Wow, this is going to create a lot of sea pickles. This is fantastic. And after watching this for a minute, I can tell that most of the sea pickles are going in this one. Look at how backed up that one is compared to this one. This one doesn't even have any. These are keeping up just fine. These are not an issue. Just the corner ones are an issue. So I've gone ahead and remade the storage system. Now we have the hoppers that are all leading in each other into the center hopper, and each one of them has another hopper going into a barrel underneath. So anytime that they overflow, they should definitely go ahead and leak into the next one. So that means that pretty much every single hopper here has a double hopper speed capabilities. So now that we've done that, I want to test it. But there's one other thing I also want to test is have we tried 1 tick with our new piston setup right here? Let's go ahead and see what happens when we do that. Looks like nothing actually happens. It has to be on 2 ticks. Let's see if we do that. Yeah, it definitely has to be on 2 ticks, but look at how fast that is. That's plenty fast, and it looks like all the hopper is going to keep up. I'm going to let it run for a little bit and see how this hopper does. So for these hoppers right here that are leading into the side, I've given them an extra hopper out here too, and now these hoppers are actually doing just fine. Take a look. If we look in there, they actually clearing out now, and this thing's been on for about 2 or 3 minutes now, and 20 is about the most, but look at how fast that's draining out. It does fluctuate quite a bit, and it's actually going to go ahead and clear all the way out just about, and there's 20 more. So it does kind of bounce up and down, but nonetheless, looks like we got ourselves a stable collection system. I don't think we have anything to worry about now. So now that we got our storage system figured out, that's pretty much this farm all complete. This is pretty much a working design. You could build this block for block, and obviously it is going to work for you. And this isn't as far as I'm going to take it. I'm going to make it a lot nicer, a lot better, and that's going to be for my tutorial. But nonetheless, this is basically the basics of what we're going to be doing. I want to go ahead and connect it up to the Superior Industrial District and connect that up to the Super Moss Farm for endless bone blocks. And so that I'm going to be doing that in the tutorial. And also too, down here, I would also recommend putting in some 1-wide tileable shulker box loaders instead of barrels, because this is going to fill up way too fast. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This has been a lot of fun engineering all this redstone. This is a brand new thing that we're doing on the channel, and I think I'm going to keep up with it because it was a lot of fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you did, be sure to smack that like button for me. Subscribe if you guys are new. Consider becoming a member, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody.